Hi, welcome to ShowMeTheCurry.com. I'm Hital.
I'm Anuja, and for the weak-hearted, please sit down and brace yourselves. And we're doing Undhiyu today.
Yay! Streamers confetti. Now I know this has got to be the most requested recipe, right? We've had a lot of requested recipes, but this has got to take the cake. So here it is today, our version of Undhiyu. And it's a multi-step process. So we already showed you how to make mutia for the Undhiyu. If you watched the previous video, that'll give you the detailed directions on that. And from there, we're going to continue onwards.
And since we just finished frying the mutia, we've just lowered the heat for the oil, and it's still sitting over there. We're going to first go ahead and fry the stuff that we need to get that out of the way, and then work on the rest of the process.
Right. So right here we have some potatoes which we've peeled and cubed into nice 1-inch size, and we used about 4 medium size. They're between small and medium, about 4 of these potatoes.
Right.
And again, peeled and cubed, and we rinsed them under water so that all the extra starch goes away. And then we're going to take a paper towel and block them dry. We want them really, really dry before we put it into the hot oil.
Yeah, you don't want, you don't want to hurt yourself, and you definitely don't want to put water in there. And the same thing over here. We have a sweet potato over here. We're going to use one of these. So this is approximately what the size is. And we're going to cut it and cube it the same way, dry it up before we fry it.
So the sweet potato and the regular potatoes are cubed and dry, nice and dry. We're going to go ahead and fry them. And we're going to gently slide them into the oil. If you want to be safe about it, you can also take your little spatula and put a few in there and drop them in. And we'll fry until they're golden brown on medium heat. So potatoes are looking like they're cooked, but we're going to just check and make sure. So we take one of the pieces, and we're just going to try to cut it through and see if it goes through easily. And if it does like that, then we know it's cooked. And we can pull them out. This time we're not lining our plate with a paper towel because we're going to try to use this oil instead of having it soak up. And while the potatoes are still hot right out of the oil, we're going to sprinkle a little bit of salt on it and just toss it around a little. And we're going to do the same with the sweet potatoes.
So while the potatoes and the sweet potatoes are frying, we're going to use that time over here and start with the chutney grinding. So it's a very simple procedure over here. We're going to grind a small bunch of cilantro we've just washed, 1 green chili, again this is to taste, approximately 5 large garlic cloves, and approximately 1 tablespoon of ginger, 1/4 cup of desiccated coconut, so basically dry coconut flakes. Just going to chop down the cilantro just a little bit so it helps in the grinding.
Once we have a little room, we can keep adding the rest of our ingredients.
Yeah, that's the balance of the coconut. 1 tablespoon sugar, 1/2 tablespoon of salt or to taste, 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds or jeera, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice.
This is a pretty intense chutney, but this is what's going to flavor the rest of the Undhiyu. So it needs to be a little bit, power packed.
And we're going to grind it to a smooth paste.
That looks perfect.
Yep.
It's a nice smooth paste. It smells so good.
It does.
So our potatoes are fried, our chutney is made, and what we've done is basically divided the chutney into 2 portions, just halved it, and we're going to use half of the chutney to stuff into our little baby eggplants. So we're using about 12 of these equal size eggplants. Right. Everybody fights for the eggplants. There's these big items in Undhiyu that everybody wants one of, so you want to make sure this is going to serve 8 people. So we have 8 plus 4 extra just in case some of them fall apart.
Right. So what you're going to do is we're going to split them through 4 ways. Leave a little bit of the stem portion so they all stay together. So basically you take a knife and you just cut it one side and then the other way. And I'm going to pass it on, and Hetal's going to do the stuffing.
And so now we have a thing that's attached at the bottom, and it still splits open, so you can take a little spoon and just stuff a little portion of the chutney inside the middles on both sides. And we're going to use this chutney for all 12 of them, so just divide it accordingly. And once it's stuffed, we have a little casserole dish like this. We've lightly oiled the bottom of it, and we're just going to arrange our eggplants in here.
So all our eggplants are stuffed. Looks good. We're going to now drizzle about a tablespoon of oil on it. And we're going to cover it, and we're going to put it in the microwave. We're going to cook it for 5 minutes, and then open it, kind of give it a little gentle toss, and then cook it for another 3 minutes.
But everybody's microwaves are different, so just keep an eye on it. Now we know traditionally you don't use a microwave for your undhiyu, but in this case the reason we're doing it is because the microwave cooks the eggplants without really breaking them up, and when you get them out they're nice and whole. And a lot of times people deep fry the eggplant, but since we're stuffing them this time, we're not going to be able to deep fry them. So it just gives us a little bit of more control over the texture of the eggplants.
So out of the microwave, 5 minutes.
And we're gently going to turn these a little bit.
And we're going to put them back in the microwave for 3 more minutes.
So our eggplants are cooking, and now here we have some papri. Now again, traditionally in undhiyu you're supposed to use surti papri, but you know, as hard as we tried, we could not get our hands on surti papri. But this is papri that grew in my mother's backyard, so all the better. It's fresh. It's still papri, and you still get the wonderful papri flavor. Surti papri usually has bigger, these little seeds in there, and they pop out from the middle, whereas these are a little more flat. But the flavor is still good. So what we do with these papris, once you get them, you have to take the fibers off out of the end. So we're just going to snap off one side and peel it through like that, and then pinch off the second side and peel it off like that.
Kind of like what you do to beans and to peas in India.
Yes,
if
absolutely.
you're using snow peas.
Snow peas, right.
Yeah.
And I know from personal experience this is not a step you want to skip on and you want to save time on, because that's going to be like the fibrous little strands coming out of your undhiyu later on. So you don't want to skip that step. Once you get here, you pop it open like this. And if it's a really big papri, you could even tear it in half. Otherwise, you can leave it the same size. And we've done that with all of these right here. This is approximately 3 cups of papri.
So we're going to be putting a lot of these things in the pressure cooker. We have a pressure cooker, like Hetal mentioned, 3 cups of papri in here. We've got 1 cup of the tuer.
It's also known as pigeon peas.
1 cup of water, 1 teaspoon of salt, or to taste, 1/4 teaspoon of ajwain, and we're going to mix it. And we're going to put it on the flame and allow it to whistle twice and then turn it off.
And our eggplant is out of the microwave.
So again, to make sure it's all done exactly like what you did to the potato, we're just going to lightly put a knife in there, and if it goes through it, perfect, it's done. Look at that. Beautiful. No effort needed. It's done. Otherwise, you could just put it back in the microwave for just another minute.
Right. And you do want it cooked just like this and not overcooked, because again, we can't stress, you want to keep the shape of your whole eggplant.
Yeah, you don't want them all falling
apart. Yeah. Okay, the pressure is gone from the pressure cooker, so we can open it. And the papri looks perfectly cooked. Here we have a nice wide pan, and we have 3 tablespoons of oil heating up right now. And once the oil is hot, we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of ajwain, 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of asafoetida. And to this we'll add our chutney, remainder half chutney. And let it cook for about 30 seconds. And to the chutney we're going to add our cooked papri and tuer along with the liquid. And we're going to add 1 cup of water. We just added it to our grinder so we can clean it up and use all of our chutney. And we're going to wait for the water to come to a boil. Okay, and the water's been boiling for about 1 or 2 minutes. We're going to add in our mutia and the potatoes and sweet potatoes. And give it a mix. We'll add 2 tablespoons of coriander powder, 2 teaspoons of cumin powder, and 1 tablespoon of garam masala, and mix. At this point, you can adjust your salt as well. And once everything is mixed in really well, we're going to add in the eggplants. And there's a little bit of water from there. We're going to add that in as well. And just gently mix. You don't want to break the eggplants. Now we're going to lower the heat to low, cover the pan, and let it simmer for about 10 minutes. All right, it's been 10 minutes. And again, we're going to give it a gentle toss. And it's ready to serve.
So our undhiyu is ready. Look at it. It looks fantastic. It's just like perfect. And of course, traditionally, undhiyu is had with puris. You know, in the same oil, you can just fry a few puris, and you've done justice to that oil.
Everybody always feels bad about frying just 1 or 2 items, and then what do you do with that oil? So this is one instance where you get full use out of it. But all in all, it's a meal all by itself. You don't need any rice. You don't need anything. It's a one big meal. Some puri, some undhiyu, and you can even eat it like chopped. You can put some chutney over the top and drizzle some save over the top. That's a perfect way to eat it as well.
Sounds great. Yes. Also, another thing, traditionally, of course, undhiyu is floating in oil, and that's one of the yummy parts about it. And that's absolutely fine. For undhiyu, it's absolutely okay. But we've tried to make it as healthy as possible without going, without losing on the flavor and, the whole integrity of the dish. But if you're making for a party, I would suggest you add some more oil before you add in the chutney and, all the seasoning.
Right.
And I think it'll be excellent.
And the other thing you can do is after it's finished cooking, you can heat up some oil basically right before it starts to smoke and just kind of drizzle it over everything. And that kind of just provides a nice sheen over the top of the undhiyu. So either way, it works out fine.
So I think I know you're a Guju and you're OD'd on undhiyu, but that's okay. I'll try it on your behalf.
2 thumbs up.
Fabulous.
So it's a really scary recipe if you look at the list of ingredients and the process. And no doubt it is a lot of process, right? There's a lot of different steps involved. But if you break it up and do one step at a time, it just kind of flows all together. So it's not that bad. A lot of people get scared about doing this, but it's a wonderful dish. And this particular recipe serves 8 people, so invite some friends over.
Right, make a big batch.
Make a big batch.
I know you're putting in all that effort. Make a big batch. Eat some now or keep some for yourself for later. Or like Hetal said, have a party.
Have a party, invite some friends. They'll thank you for this because it's not something you get every day. So.
Right.
Anyway, enjoy your undhiyu and join us again on another episode of ShowMeTheCurry.com.
Adding a pinch of spice to your life.